Alexander the Great was only 32 years old when he died. By that age, he had conquered most of the known world. His armies never had truly been defeated. Kings bowed before him, cities surrendered without a fight. Many believed he was chosen of the gods. Yet in 323 BC, in the great city of Babylon, this unstoppable man suddenly fell ill. He did not die on a battlefield. He did not die in combat. He died slowly, helpless, surrounded by silence and fear. No one knew why, and even today, no one knows how the greatest conqueror in history really died. In the summer of 323 BC, Alexander the Great stood at the peak of human power. His empire stretched from Greece to Egypt, from Persia to the edges of India. No ruler before him had controlled so much land so quickly. Babylon had become his capital, a city of wealth, knowledge, and ambition. From here, Alexander planned even more conquest. Arabia was next, then perhaps North Africa. Some believed even Rome would fall one day. Alexander was not acting like a man who expected to die. He was planning cities, ships, and armies. He held banquets with his generals and spoke confidently about the future. His closest companions believed the world would continue to change under his command for many years. But suddenly, everything stopped. After a night of celebration, Alexander complained of pain. At first, no one was worried. He had survived far worse. But the pain did not go away. His body weakened day by day. The strongest man alive could no longer stand. His voice slowly disappeared. His generals watched in fear as their leader faded before their eyes. What happened in that room in Babylon would not only end a life, it would change history forever. The final days of Alexander the Great began quietly. He attended a long banquet in Babylon where heavy drinking was common. Ancient sources describe Alexander drinking wine and talking with friends late into the night. Suddenly, he felt a sharp pain in his body. Some accounts say it was in his stomach, others say it was a burning fever. At first, Alexander ignored it. He had been wounded many times before. Arrows had pierced his chest, swords had cut his skin. He believed this pain was temporary. By the next day, the fever returned. Then it grew stronger. Over the following days, Alexander's condition worsened. His body became weak. He struggled to walk. His temperature stayed high. Yet his mind remained clear. He continued giving orders, pointing and nodding to his generals when he could no longer speak. As days passed, Alexander lost his voice completely. He could only communicate with gestures. His soldiers gathered outside the palace terrified. They begged to see their king, one by one. They were allowed to walk past his bed. Alexander looked at them, silent, unable to speak, but still alive. Doctors were helpless. Ancient medicine could not explain what was happening. They tried rest, they tried herbs, nothing worked. On the 10th or 11th day, Alexander stopped responding. Some sources say his body did not decay for several days after death, leading to rumors that he was not truly dead at first, only paralyzed. Finally, in June 323 BC, the greatest conqueror of the world had ever known was declared dead. But the real mystery had only begun. Almost immediately, rumors spread from Babylon. Many believed Alexander had been poisoned. He had powerful enemies, perhaps even among his closest companions. Alexander ruled with absolute power. His generals were loyal, but they were also ambitious. Many feared his future plans. More wars meant more danger. More companions meant endless fighting far from home. Some wanted the empire to end with him. Poison was well known in the ancient world. Greek writers described deadly substances that worked slowly, causing fever, weakness, and paralysis. Some poisons did not kill immediately. They destroyed the body step by step. Supporters of the poison theory point to Alexander's symptoms: the sudden illness, the slow decline, the fact that his mind remained clear while his body failed. These details seem suspicious. One name often mentioned is Antipater, a powerful general whose family had reasons to fear Alexander. Others suspect palace officials or rivals who believed Alexander had become too dangerous. However, there are problems with the poison theory. Most ancient poisons acted quickly. Alexander suffered for more than a week. Also, there is no solid proof. No witness confessed. No written record confirms murder. Ancient historians disagreed, and many wrote decades later. Poison makes a good story, but stories are not evidence. Still, the question remains, would someone dare to kill the most powerful man on earth? And if they did, how did they get away with it? Many modern historians believe Alexander died of natural causes. Several medical explanations have been suggested over the years. One possibility is malaria. Babylon was surrounded by swamps, perfect for mosquitoes. Malaria causes high fever, weakness, and confusion. Alexander had traveled constantly and was exhausted. Another theory is typhoid fever. Typhoid spreads through contaminated water and food. It causes long fever, stomach pain, and sometimes paralysis. Some of Alexander's symptoms match this disease closely. Others believe his body simply collapsed from years of stress. Alexander drank heavily. He carried old wounds that never healed properly. His immune system may have been weak. A simple infection could have turned deadly, but problems remain. Ancient descriptions are unclear. Writers often misunderstood illness. No one recorded exact symptoms in detail. There was no medical examination after death. One strange detail stands out. Alexander's body reportedly did not decay for several days. In hot Babylon, this was unusual. Some believed it was sign of divine blood. Others wondered if he was not truly dead at first. Could Alexander have been alive, trapped in paralysis, unable to move or speak? There is no way to know. Natural causes explain many things, but not everything. And so, uncertainty remains. Alexander's death created chaos immediately, and his body lay in the palace. His generals argued outside. The greatest empire in the world suddenly had no ruler. Alexander had no clear heir. His wife was pregnant, but the child was not yet born. When asked who should rule, Alexander whispered to the strongest. Those words sealed the empire's fate. Within weeks, power struggles began. Former friends turned into enemies. Generals declared themselves kings. The empire was divided into pieces. Decades of war followed. Millions would die in conflicts that never would have happened if Alexander had lived longer. His body was eventually taken to Egypt, but his tomb was later lost. Even his final resting place became a mystery. Alexander's death did more damage than any enemy ever did. It ended unity, it ended peace, it ended a dream of one world under one ruler. Whether he died by poison, disease, or fate, the result was same. History changed direction forever. Alexander the Great conquered the world, but he could not conquer death. His final enemy did not carry a sword or lead an army. It came quietly in a bedroom, in the heart of his empire. More than 2000 years later, we still do not know the truth. No final answer exists, no body to examine, no clear record, only questions. Was Alexander murdered by those closest to him? Did disease claim him at the height of power? Or was his body finally exhausted after years of endless war? Perhaps the mystery itself is fitting. Alexander wanted to be remembered forever. And in the strange way, he is not only for what he achieved, but for how he left the world wondering. The greatest conqueror in the history died without explanation, and that mystery refuses to die with him.